Hey guys, Jess from Knockout Print Shop, and today I have for you my first impressions of the 2021 Inkwell Press Planner. So I'm going to start off by talking about the things that I purchased. We'll go through kind of my first impressions of the planner, the colors, things like that, and then I'm going to show you our color palettes that we came up with to coordinate. We took a little creative liberty on a few of them to add some color to the mix, but just wanted to go through that with you. Okay, so first things first, let me show you the new-ish things that I bought that are not related to the weekly inserts. I did not buy a new cover and I did not buy new discs. Obviously there's some new colors of the vegan leather out that are nice, but I don't really need it. So I didn't want to spend extra money on new covers or discs because these are obviously things once you buy it once, unless you want new colors, you don't need to. So that's the first investment. That seems a lot at first, but then again, you won't have to replace it. So I didn't buy any of those kind of extras. I did buy a few new things. I bought the weekly kickstart that they redesigned with the punched vertical option. One of her customers came up with this idea and I thought this is pretty clever. I do like the weekly kickstart. I have it in the old wider version with the band at the top, the notepad version, but I thought this was cool, especially for on a week that you don't need like a two-paged weekly spread. Nice to just jot down tasks, maybe some appointments, or use this as a brain dump to set up your full weekly spread. So I thought this was a pretty cool thing. It already came pre-punched, and I do like this vertical layout, and it's two-sided. So I'm excited to try that. I did also buy another pack of her grid paper. I do like this paper, and I think I had run out of it. The only thing that sucks is it is a little pricier for just paper, and it's really nice paper. So sometimes I don't like to use this for just like scribbly notes. So I'll probably use this more. I don't know, we'll see, but I like having an extra package of it. It's good paper. Then I purchased the notepad, so it's bound on this side, the daily docket, or sorry, the daily, this is the version of the daily spread that's in her daily inserts. But on the back is this like a revamped version of her daily download notebook or notepad, I think. Anyways, I wanted to get this honestly because I like the back page better, but I've made a few attempts of using the daily and never really do. I don't have much going on by way of schedule, so this is not as helpful for me. I just noticed this now, this is kind of a weird section, like progress towards goals. So I guess you just write like maybe a task you have to do that day to make progress towards your goal. That's kind of weird. I just noticed that. This is obviously in line with her method with the escalate, cultivate, accommodate. I don't really care for that, but I could easily just make this a to-do list. But again, I will probably use this more so if I do for the back page. One thing I want to point out here on this notepad, and you'll see in the weekly inserts as well, which I don't think, do I have the, shoot, I'm gonna have to grab the flex ones. But there's not a big enough margin here, you guys. So when I go to punch this, it's going to potentially cover this little arrow, and the punch itself is going to be really close to these lines. Let me go grab my punch so I can test this out and show you. Okay, I'm back. So I have my Levenger punch. I'm going to take one of these sheets off and we're going to punch it. I'm not really good at this. Matt's in charge of doing all this, so we'll see if I even line this up right, but I'm going to punch it so I can show you guys. So yeah, I think this is one of the problems with this. So you can see here that this cuts into the arrows, it cuts into the text. This is, from a design standpoint, they should have created a deeper margin here. This is really silly. Obviously, if you're just going to use it as a notepad, it doesn't matter, but it's designed to be punched. So they should have, there's a big margin here, so they should have shifted this or made it more narrow so that it's more easily punched. So you see here on the back how far the punch goes in. Let me punch it on the other side. Like if I was just going to use this side, let's see. No, it's still going to be stupid a little. Well, it's not quite as bad on this side. So if you punch it and just use the back side, like if you were just going to use this side and turn the pages this way, it looks like it's better to punch it on this side, which is kind of weird, right? Because if you're using this as the way it's intended, which is this is your daily planner, and then the back is like your download of like reflecting on the day and filling out these gratitudes and things like that, you would punch it on this side, right? So if you punch it on this side, you can see that it comes really close to your disc. So you'd have to essentially write on this as a notepad, punch it, and put it back. put it into your planner later. So I think that's a really weird design issue. I think they should have made the margin more like it is on the right. So if I wanted to use this the other way, let's say I wanted to put it in my planner like this and just use this page, this margin's better to disc punch it. But then obviously it's a little bit weird because you have your schedule and stuff on this side, so you'd imagine like it'd be like this. So I don't know. I don't know how much I'm going to use this, but if I do, I'll probably use the back, which actually has the better margin. But just know if you're going to buy this sheet and you have plans to punch it like that and put it in your planner, it really needs a bigger margin here. So I think that's an oversight from a design standpoint on Inkwell Press's part. Cool sheet, cool concept, but me, just I'm a little more particular and detail oriented, so I don't like that. I think it needs a bigger margin. Okay, let's get into the planner now. So I bought the Classic, which is the vertical, and the Flex, which is the horizontal inserts, and I think, yes, I have both planners here. So let's just flip in and get into this. So the new planner. I do like, you can see I already like jacked up my pages here, but I do like the very clean look of this front page. They've changed the, they used to use a lot of dash lines and now they're using dotted lines, so I like that subtle little difference. You have your your important dates. We see this page every year in Inkwell Press. I do like this dark teal color. This page is nicely designed if you use a kind of year at a glance pre-planning important dates section. Then you get into the goals, which we saw redesigned last year and stayed this year. The goal colors are, let me check here. Did I bring, yeah, I did. Oh my God, you guys should see my desk, it's a mess. So this is my, now that I've unbound these, let's look and see the difference in color here. So it does look like last year's colors. This is 2020. This is 2021. So she has updated some of these colors. It looks like Home is a darker version of what Health was. Looks like Dream Big and Personal seem like what Health is this year. She made this green more lime green versus forest green, which I think is a good idea because this green to me isn't on brand. And it looks like she added a purple, got rid of the yellow, and made this teal a little darker. So there's very subtle differences in the colors for the goals, but if you do use our goal stickers that coordinate with these colors, you're going to want to buy new ones for 2021. So we have yet to color match these, but we will color match them so we can launch all of our goal related stickers. So you can see that. Now this is going to be a freaking mess, guys. How does this go? Oh my Lord. Okay, like this. So then you can see these pages. Here, let me see. From 2021 to 2020. Obviously same exact layout, and you can see the color differences are subtle, but I do like the 2021 goal colors better. I like the subtle adjustment she made from 2020 there. As you know, if you watched my video from last year on this planner, I do not like this design, this layout. I don't mind this. I think this is fine with the lines and all that. This is aesthetically pleasing, but from a functional standpoint is just not smart. There's no lines. It's weird. You don't have the same amount of space for each one. I think this is weird. I don't love the redesign of this page, but the colors are better. So let's get into the colors. Also, I have our dividers, which are very similar to the Inkwell Press dividers. Hers just have that little embossed gold leaf icon on the bottom for their logo, but obviously we sell these too without that. Okay, first palette for January is Buenos Aires. I really actually like these palettes a lot this year, you guys. I think the colors are more on brand, they're more versatile, and they're more interesting. And I think they appeal to more people, in my opinion. Now, you may disagree. Everybody has different preferences with colors. So this palette, actually, the first one, Buenos Aires, has the most color variation in it. You have this corally peach, you have this mint green, you have this like indigo, denim, dusty, kind of bluish gray, and then of course you have gray. So you have kind of like 3 different colors, which made this palette a little bit easier to just kind of replicate. I will say this color was a beast to try to match, but we got as close as we could. So we don't get the color codes from Inkwell Press. They do not release those, so we have to physically spend hours. It took us about 3 days, a couple hours a day to get these as close as we could. So you can see here is our interpretation of Buenos Aires. So we did go with this darkest color, and we do tend to go with the main accent color every year. while it is typically a dark color and from writing on stickers is not ideal, it does add that nice pop of color. And a lot of our stickers that you have to write on, we do put that kind of like lighter color in the middle, like we tone it down a little bit in the middle of the sticker so you can still write over it better. So we did use this main color. Then we used the next shade down from it, this like dusty denim color. Then we went with both of the Corally Peaches. Originally we weren't going to do this because we thought they were too close, but when we tried to come up with like a complementary accent color, everything we were pulling just did not go with the rest of the colors and it looked off. So we did make these as close to the color as we could, and they are a few shades different from each other, so they are visibly different. We did the darker of the two mints, and then of course we gave you the gray. We did have a request to not add the gray to each palette, and we played around with not doing that to give you guys more color. But the problem was with a lot of these palettes, we were having a really hard time finding a add-on accent color, and for a lot of people I think they like having the gray. I know I do, because I can use gray with any one of these colors to kind of make my weekly palettes, and gray is a pretty universal color. It's nice for consistency, all of that, and it's what we've really done over the past 6 years of doing Inkwell Press, is we've always had a gray. So I think this came out pretty good as far as matching it. So this does not have any Knockout Print Shop added colors to the mix. This is 100% the Inkwell Press palette. So basically how this works with her planner is this, for the most part, and almost every month, this main color then becomes this new big thick banner color. When I first saw this on her Instagram, I was like, oh my God, I can't stand this dark, heavy top banner border color. I still don't love it, but I will say in person, it is not as bad as it looked on their Instagram. Unfortunately, sometimes when Inkwell Press puts up Instagram posts, whatever they do post to their images to edit and color correct, they sometimes pull colors weird, and these two colors, when they showed them, did not look complementary. They looked like they were like totally opposite and didn't go together, but I can tell you, and I will show you, the two colors, the header and the daily boxes, do look good together in each palette. Okay, so you have this big border. A lot of people are torn on if they like this. Let me show you the difference from last year. Let's see if I can find a blank month. Okay, sorry guys, let's see. Oh my gosh, maybe I should stop reaching like over here. So let's see. So this is the comparison to see one of them from last year. So you saw in every other year, they've always had this dash line that wrapped around, and then you had this nice open space up here with the date. I still prefer this. I like that it's open, it's bright. If you're somebody that likes to write up here, you have room to write the weather or reminder or something like that. Now you have to contend with this big, dark, heavy header. If you have a white gel pen, you can probably write over this, but for some people, this is not gonna be ideal. Because they changed this header, I don't know if you can see this, but they used to have these dashed lines, and now they went to a small dotted line. So that is a design change you can see there. And you can, I don't know if you can tell this on camera, but usually this dashed line here went from the date, it went straight down, and then it wrapped down to the daily box. Now this line just goes down and down. It doesn't wrap around. This dashed line, which is now a dotted line, doesn't wrap and like kind of enclose the daily boxes. So I don't know, I don't mind this new look. I like the dotted lines, it's more subtle. You have less things popping out at you. So it's a little cleaner. It looks like too, they went with opened hexagons on the weekly notes versus the ombre with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And obviously you have your note section, so that's the same. But you can just, to give you an idea of the design difference from the previous year. They did not, I'm not a fan of the Inkwell Press method being on this planner with these words and the lines, but that did not change. Because this is a dotted line now, we had to redesign what you can see here. Our cover strips are now dotted, so they match. Of course, if you wanted to, you can throw last year's dashed cover strips on there, but it may stand out because these are now dotted lines. So you can see that. Okay, so let's see. So here's what okay, so back up, slow down. Here we go. Oh, I had to address one other thing too. So you have this color is this color. You don't see light blue anywhere on the Mission Board palette, but you have light blue down here. So it looks like what they did, at least for this palette, is she took this dark color and then took a lighter version of it for the daily box, because this light blue, the closest thing is this, and it's really not the same because this is brighter. So you have that. But all of these colors down here from the original palette do look pretty good. Again, this teal that she has here doesn't coordinate 100% amazingly with this light blue that's, again, not in the actual palette. So you're gonna see some weird discrepancies there because they didn't transfer over all the colors that are actually on the palette into the weekly spread, if that makes sense. But I think for the most part, it looks good together. Again, the only one that might be a little off with this light blue would be this teal, but I think you can make it work. Okay, so you have that. I talked about the design changes there. The other thing I think is similar to that daily notepad I was talking to you about. This margin to me, for some reason, they have shifted things over too far to the left on this right-hand page. And you can see how close, and even in one, I think almost like tops of the letters, like right here, this is like basically cutting off the top of the T. I know it's hard to see on camera, and I don't even know if I bring it closer if you can see. It's not probably going to focus for you at all. But this is, again, I think they should have created a bigger margin here so that when they were going to cut, because there's no way to cut every page perfectly, they would have had a little more room for error. So if, you know, for someone that's not writing over there, it doesn't matter. But if you're throwing down like one of our cover strips to either make your planner hourly or you simply want to cover that, again, your sticker's almost going to have to go like right next to your disc because of how much they eliminated a buffer here, a margin on the other side of that word. So I think that's, to me, a design oversight. I would have shifted this page over just a hair to give you more room for error with this punch. So there's that. Okay, let me talk about another design error that I think they overlooked. So we are pretty particular about making sure our stickers fit as well as they possibly can. So Matt went and he measured these boxes to make sure, because now the design on the monthly, because of this big heavy border, is a little bit, let me see if I can find it for you, is a little different. So here's the month before. Now, because of before, I mean, I have one of our day of the week changing stickers. They usually, you see how this wraps around right here, because of the design change and this banner or header went all the way through versus last year where it didn't. They didn't go with this line on the left wrapping around. So you can see now this side is just open. It used to have a line. I personally liked the line. I liked this design before. So we were worried that these month boxes were going to be a slightly different size, which they are. Now, any of our old monthly labels or month boxes that you got will probably work. These are about 1.556 wide, so that it can basically go from edge to edge of the box. I go and I start putting down the stickers that Matt made for the monthly, and then everything I'm putting on the right-hand side is about 1/100 of a 1/10 of an inch short. And I was like, well, Matt, didn't you measure all these? He was like, yeah, I did. So on the month view, the left page, the boxes for the day of the week are ever so slightly smaller than the day of the week box on the right side. These are about 1.57. The problem is we can't offer a monthly label sheet where you get a handful that are this size and a handful that are that size. So we made them to the 1.556 or whatever it is. So whenever you have a sticker you're putting on the Thursday through Saturday side of your month, you're gonna have ever so slightly a little bit of a gap. So we are not a big fan of that, but the problem is we just can't create a sheet of stickers where half of them are a different size. It just doesn't make sense. So if you're super anal retentive and you don't like this gap, we apologize. There's just nothing that we can do that's cost effective, efficient, makes sense. Because then if you start throwing the longer ones over here, they're gonna go over. It's very, very subtle. But unfortunately, that's just something with Inkwell Press. A lot of times there are these little details that they overlook when they're proofing designs, in my opinion. I don't think you know, they don't care about stickers, so they're not thinking about it like that. But me, even if I wasn't caring about stickers, I would make sure every month box was exactly the same size. So there's that. Okay, so that's just something to look out for when you're ordering our stickers. We did not make these the wrong size. We just sized them to the smaller size, and this is just an Inkwell Press weird thing. Okay, so let's see. That's how that goes. Of course, you have your habit tracker back here, and we have the habit tracker hexagons as usual. So then we go to February, which is the palette called Santorini. So this one, you can see there is not a huge variety of color here. You have this nice like eggplant colored or maroon accent color. You have this like dusty blue, and then you have 4 shade differences of this like minty green color. And then you're like, well, where is this pink? Why did you guys add pink? So there's no pink here, right? But there's pink here. So basically what she did, like the previous palette, is you take this main accent color that has the quote on it, and that was the header. And then just like with Buenos Aires, instead of doing one of the other colors from the palette as the daily box, they kind of went a complementary shade to this color and made it lighter. And that's your daily box color. So you don't see pink on the mission board, just like for Buenos Aires, you don't see light blue on the mission board, but you'll see it in the daily boxes. So there's that. Now, in years past, we've gotten feedback that people don't like when there is a color in the palette when you're using stickers that matches the daily box. And we were trying to avoid doing that. But unfortunately, every accent color we were trying to pull to add another color to the mix was just looking weird. It was greens, it was weird colors, it didn't coordinate with the rest of the colors. We didn't want to give too much more blue because there's so much blue in these palettes. We didn't want to give you more purple because there was already a lot of purple in these palettes. And the greens that we're pulling that were complementary to these were so, they didn't complement these other colors that you would have looked at that palette and been like, were they colorblind when they tried to do this? So we had to go with this pink. When you put the sticker on top, I know it looks very similar. It's subtly darker so that if you do use a pink sticker down here, you're still gonna see it. But of course, you could always just use the pink, not in that area. So this is the colors we went with. We have this pink, we have this blue, we have the darkest of the teals, and then one of the lighters of the teals, and then obviously the gray, and then we use the pink. So again, I know that might not be ideal for some people, but it does look nice together as a palette. It is true to the Inkwell Press colors. So there's that. So unfortunately, we were really struggling to come up with something that would give you more variety without clashing with the rest of these colors. So it is really hard to do that, but just to give you an explanation on where we went with that. Okay, so let's go to March, which is Vancouver. So you have another purpley palette. This purple is a little more blue versus Santorini, which is pulling a little more like pinkish, reddish. So this is going to be more like your bluish purples. This was another really difficult palette because as you can see, there's basically 2 colors. There's purple and there's blue. So obviously we took the main color, we took the next light. We had to do 3 purples here, guys, because again, every time we kept pulling complementary colors to these purples, it was like green, and it wasn't even a nice green. It was like Christmas green, which isn't not nice, but I don't think people want to look at forest green, especially after all the green that was in the 2020. So this palette gave us a lot of problems trying to find a complementary color. So you can see there is a lot of purple. We tried to make sure that we gave you a good variation in shade so it doesn't look like you're using the same purple over and over again. So you can see these are 3 distinct shades of purple. We pulled the darker of the blue, we have the gray, and then we have our color we added, which is this cream color. And I went back and forth and I wasn't sure if this was a good idea because it is different. We've never done like a neutral color in our palettes, but it actually does, you guys, look really good with this blue. It looks really good with the purple. It gives you kind of more of a professional, neutral color that I think is really functional. It actually looks good with a lot of the other palettes, so you can mix and match this color and use it with other months. The other color we almost went with as an accent color was something almost spot on to the coral peach color in Buenos Aires. And we were going to do that, but then I thought, well, then people are gonna think that we basically use the same color in both of these palettes, and they're not going to have a lot of variety. And this peach does look really good with this palette. So I thought, you know what? Let's give this different cream, give it a try, and just let people know these peach colors look great with this Vancouver palette against this blue. So you can definitely use the Buenos Aires peachy pink coral colors on this basically blue page, and that gives you another option. So we didn't want to give you guys the same color in 2 palettes because I just feel like that doesn't give you a lot of variety, and I knew you could use this color here. So we didn't want to pull, and we had to come up with an accent color because we didn't want to give you yet another blue when this whole page is freaking blue, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to explain to you guys like what goes into our thought process when we come up with these colors. It's really hard because we know some people don't always like the colors we pick, and we go through hours of trying to find complementary colors that are going to work with all of the colors. It's difficult, I'm not gonna lie. So I hope you guys like what we came up with. If not, like I said, this palette, these colors look great here. But I do think you'll be surprised that this is kind of an interesting, neat kind of color to use. I'm a big fan of earthy tones, so I like that, but I don't know. I get so nervous showing you guys this if you're gonna hate it, but hopefully you like it. Okay, so that's your, what did I call it? Is that Santorini? No, that's Vancouver. So again, a lot of purple, but I think they went with the blue here. So they didn't transfer like all the other palettes where they took this accent color and threw it up here. She didn't do that. And I wonder if she didn't do that because she didn't want to give you 2 months of just like purples, but you do have 2 months of basically blue. So you can see blue here and blue here. So you have a lot of blue. So for those of you that don't like purple, you like blue, you're getting a lot of blue this year. Okay, so last one. This is one of my favorites. I know I just did a live on Facebook showing you guys this, and some people did not like this palette. I actually like this palette, but I like our version a little better. So I really like these mint greens. I love this smoky color. You kind of see different variations of it in the rest of the palettes. One second. Okay, so here's the weird thing with this palette. This color does not go. I don't know why they used this color. If you see, like again, except for in the last palette, this color typically is the header, right? In the first 2 palettes, that's how it was. In this one, in Santorini, or Vancouver, she didn't use the purple up here, but she did use the blue. So it was a color from this palette went up here. And this one, this is like this random weird color that doesn't show up anywhere else in the rest of this pages. I really like this dark green, and this, I like how this looks together. I don't know why she didn't put this color here. This makes no sense. So we didn't want to give you this color because it doesn't go with anything. It looks super weird. This bright like aqua blue does not look good with green undertones. So we didn't put that color on here. So instead, we matched this color, so that's gonna be your darkest. Then we went in and went ahead and did the next lightest. We did one of the lime greens because these are basically just one shade off and didn't wanna give you 2 of those. Then we did more of the turquoise, and then we added this like, it's like a grayish, greenish, brownish color. And again, it's a weird color. It's a little more neutral. It doesn't add a lot of pop, but it looks really good with these colors here. So it looks good with this dark guy. It looks good down here. We again tried to add some other colors in the, what was pulling, because complementary to green is purple. And I'm like, no one is gonna want more purple after having 2 other months of purple. So this presented a big issue with us. So we tried to go with something that was more neutral, but gave you something that goes with the rest of the colors in this palette. But again, I know it's not as different or unique to throw another color into here, but I wanted to make sure when you're putting your stickers on the page for this green toned page, that you didn't have something that's so random. Now, of course, green and purple go together, sure. Like use one of this purple looks great with this. So you can pull these colors from these other months and make them work. Probably the stuff from Buenos Aires, oh, the peach looks good. So you could definitely use the peach. This peach is pretty versatile across all of these palettes this year. So there's that. I think these palettes are really cool. I think they're better than they have been last year. But there is some inconsistencies in how they decided colors on the pages and stuff like that. But so really, these are the 4 palettes, guys. You got Buenos Aires, which is true to the planner. You have Santorini, which is true to the planner. And then you have Vancouver and Venice, where we added these neutral colors here. So I wanted to explain to you guys what we did, so you had an understanding when you got them. Some people would look at our palettes and be like, well, that's not exactly the Inkwell Press palette. And we have to change it up so that you're not getting basically a sheet of like, let's look at Santorini, you would have just gotten a sheet basically of all purple stickers. And for some people that's not a problem, but when you're buying stickers and you want some variety and you're looking at this color 3 times in a year, it's nice to have some variety. So again, it's always a little nerve-wracking when we present these to you guys because we want you to like them, and I know everybody has different tastes, so I hope you guys do like what we came up with and the decisions that we made. Try not to do too many light colors. Years over year, we always get feedback that like the lightest colors suck, you can barely see them. So, but again, it's really hard when you're working with so many colors in a palette to find something that coordinates, to give you enough colors that there's contrast and all that stuff. I'm being a little repetitive, but I hope you get the idea of why we chose what we chose. So this video is going out today on Friday, and we are releasing the mini hexagons. You'll see first go, we are releasing the solid habit hexagons, classic headers. This year for our headers, guys, we are gonna offer 3 words: to do, today, and work, and that's it. But then we're going to offer a personalized option where you can go and you order it in sets of 2 sheets, but you can have a full sheet of whatever word you want as long as it's 15 characters long. So when you order the 2-pack of headers, your 1 sheet can be 1 word and your 2nd sheet can be another word if you like, or you can order both as the same word. But what we have found is sometimes we offer so many header listings and we end up with so much stock that people don't use, and it's hard to figure out what headers are the most popular. Today, to do, and work tend to be the most popular, so those are the ones you can order as a single sheet. But if you want something other than that, you can customize it to say whatever the heck you want, as long as it's only no more than 15 characters and you just buy them in sets of 2. So that's something we're trying this year. That's different than years past when we've had like 15 different options for headers and only a few of them sell. So hopefully that helps you guys, and it allows you to customize stuff to your needs without having to go through the hassle of coordinating with us for a custom or a semi-custom order. So that's pretty cool. So that's going, and then we have the cover strips that are the dash lines. We have the 3 different options of the cover strips for the time. So that's the first mini hex. Yeah, that's the first things we're offering. We will continue now, you know the process of most likely weekly converting over everything into these new colors. It does take a lot of time, guys, to transfer all of these listings over, and I know people are going to be emailing and asking, are you going to change this? Are you going to change this? Is this going to get in the 2021 colors? Blah, 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 all of that. I know you're eager to get your favorites. We go in order of the best sellers, and we go down our list and release weekly. We will get to everything that is popular. As we get towards the end of the popular stuff, if the stuff that you are waiting for hasn't gotten produced, you can always reach out, but do know we're not going to have all 100 stickers done in a week. This is a slow thing. We get about 10-ish a week done, and so it goes into 2021. Probably usually by March, we have almost everything released. It is a very labor-intensive process to go through and convert all of these listings into the new colors. It seems like it should be easy, but it's a lot of manual labor on Matt's part to go in, and we create a new listing in Etsy, we create a new listing in Shopify, we have to create all new colored images to go in every listing, we have to take pictures, we have to do, create the files in Illustrator and do all that. It's quite labor intensive, and after doing this for the 6 years, we've got it streamlined as much as we can, but we just really appreciate your patience. We know you're eager to get your new stuff and your favorites, but it will come out, I promise. Every year we get it all done. So if you're waiting, you're like, I'm gonna wait till all my favorites are out. You might be waiting a while, because like I said, we don't get everything done until like the end of first quarter. So there's that. We do have free shipping over $35. So, you know, if you're buying in $35 increments, you know, it's maybe not as much like, oh, I don't want to keep paying shipping over again. I get it. I'm the same way. But just know, if you wait, I don't want you to wait too long. If you want to get into your planner, just start buying your essentials, maybe in $35 bundles. So you have the stuff that you need. And again, we will get the rest out. Okay, so just be aware of those few things. I want to explain the colors. Be aware when you do order. Oh, and the holiday things. These will be out too on Friday, today, when this video goes out. There is going to be a little discrepancy on the date boxes on the right side of the calendar versus the left. So there's that. All right, this video is long enough. I think I went over everything. Oh, one more time. Let me show you the flex, because I always lean towards the classic when I'm doing videos, but I know, I mean, that a lot of y'all use the flex. So here is my old flex with our weird shiny dividers. This is the new flex. Colors, obviously. So this is how I like this, actually. I think this is really pretty. I like that pop of color for the date. So you can see, I have the old Flex too. My God, my desk is a mess here. Well, my pseudo desk, my filming desk. So let's just look at how the layout looks different from the previous year. This is like the world's longest video, guys. I apologize, but I hope this is helpful actually. Okay, so you can see because they went with this dotted line, again, the line does not wrap around the daily box. This is not enclosed anymore in a dashed line. It's just the color differentiation, the pink into the white sheet of paper. Last year, the dashed line wrapped around. I don't know how I feel yet about it. I think I prefer the dashed line. I think I prefer that subtle separation there. But again, this is actually design-wise, when you look at this page, it does look less busy. So if you found there was too much going on with this dashed line, you might prefer this with the subtle dotted line because it almost looks like you have more white space. And again, there's less stuff popping out at the page at you. So no, everybody's a little different. Can't make everybody happy, guys. There's going to be things you do and don't like about each planner every year when they make design changes. So that's what your your weekly view looks like. Obviously, everything else is the same. Your mission boards are the same. The calendar is the same in the Flex. As you know, you can only get Inkwell Press in disc inserts this year. This guy, this coil-bound Flex, is from 2020. It was sold on Amazon and in Staples and Office Depot, and it is no longer going to be available. If you're a coil-bound planner, I know you're ultimately frustrated about that. I like the disc. I miss the disc. I've been using my Makse Life, and I really do miss the disc, but I totally get a lot of you are not into the disc planner. It doesn't work for you, and it's a huge disappointment that Inkwell is no longer offering their book-style coil. They only have that like kind of lower price point plastic one that's on Amazon, which I don't think people are going to like unless it's just your like jot down kind of on the go planner. So this is the Flex. I think it's I actually like this. I like the fonts this year they picked for everything. I do like the colors. Again, there's some design issues with margins that I think are weird and the sizes not being consistent on the calendar view, but I don't make the planner, so there's that. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know this is a long one. I do like to go over this stuff with you guys at the beginning of each year when the new planners come out. Will I be using Inkwell? I actually think so. I'm really, really into these colors this year. I think this is nice. It's a nice change. I really enjoyed Makse Life and the bright colors, but I kind of miss having some of these muted, fun pastel colors with a new palette each month. So I think I am going to dive back into my Inkwell this year and maybe use my Makse for goal-related things. But I don't know. I'm kind of into it. I really miss my disc. I love my calendar or my cover and I love this. I really do like this. So that's it. If you have questions, let me know. Like I said, this video is going on Friday. Those are the 7 or so listings we have out. Appreciate your patience as we get the new stuff cranked out and all of your favorite listings. Let me know if you have questions, and that is all.